is setting up the popular opinion, Vox Populi, up for whatever they've got waiting in the wings for us next. We'll cover this one, then of course we'll take that phone call. Breaking news, WikiLeaks hacktivists shut down Amazon's European sites. It appears that WikiLeaks hacktivists have made good on their threat to take down one of the internet's global giants. Amazon's European sites were shut down earlier today for just 2 hours, but they're now back online with Twitter raging on the issue. Now with that, let's go ahead and take this phone call that is waiting on hold. Hello.
Hey, Alex, I just want to say you're doing a great job, man, and I heard something recently about them shutting down campgrounds and access to the mountain roads. Want to know if you know anything about that?
You know, that was on my mind the other day. I was looking at an old hiking book, and you know, we want hiking books, you want something up to date when you're looking at going hiking in Mount Hood. But the good thing about those old manuals is you'll see those old trails that they've closed off. This is believed to be in conjunction with the Agenda 21 plan to take over the national parks and forests. And as the country goes bankrupt more and more and more, there are people waiting in the wings outside this country that see those forests as their own property. But yeah, man, I'm familiar with that every time I go out hiking. And of course, you got to have a permit.
Run into anybody up there, it's going to be a bunch of rich Europeans hunting and wondering why we're on their land now.
Europeans, Chinese, Russians, the future of the Northwest.
We're up there in the mountains anyway, just in case anybody thinks them shutting down them roads is going to stop us. You ever see the movie, Southern Comfort?
I haven't seen Southern Comfort.
You should see
I've seen The Road recently. Have you seen The Road?
Huh?
Have you seen The Road?
Yeah, I saw The Road, and I think that's all Illuminati trying to get us, like Ted Turner, everybody thinking that it's going to be nothing but black skies. And
hell on earth. Now, let me tell you about The Road. And it's all predictive programming. People see a movie, and they somehow adopt that reality or how it could go down into their consciousness. First thing that happens in the first part of the film, The Road, is the woman, the mother of the child, says, I can't take this anymore. They're going to kill you and they're going to rape me. I'm out of here. And she walks off in the darkness. And when I saw that scene, I'm thinking, are they trying to project out there that women are weak? They're going to leave the kids and leave the family. And it definitely, certainly left a bad taste in the mouth.
Oh, yeah, Dad can't handle anything. We need the UN to step in.
Yeah. So I don't watch movies. Now somebody recommended Inception's a decent film, and I am going to watch that when it comes out. Oh, God, the red box, my friend. You can't even go to Hollywood Video anymore. Not that I would want to, but I see all these people lined up like machines themselves, waiting to rent out of a machine. It's total insanity. Video ATMs.
And another thing I found out recently is that I thought that everybody out there knew about building number 7. No, the problem is that we haven't been pushing that enough, man. I'm asking people, they all heard about conspiracy, but nobody heard about building 7, so I think it's our fault for not pushing it more. I'm intelligent enough to just think that, take for granted people knew about that, but they don't.
Well, some people are aware, or shall I say open to new information, and sometimes even if you share that with them, they're going to shut down simply because they don't want to hear anything that's going to shatter their reality. But you know what? You saw Geraldo. He talked about Building 7 recently, but I don't really view him as a truther. It raises many questions, which segues to our next video with Glenn Beck, my friend. To see the mainstream media now bringing out what we've been talking about for so many years, it raises many questions. Why are they admitting this to the public now? What's actually waiting for us next year that makes them feel they have to hold on their audience and give them some truth?
Yeah, I'm wondering how Jesse Ventura gets his stuff out there. I think that somewhere or another, sometimes I think it's the Freemasons are fighting against the Catholics, and I'm Christian, so I don't appreciate the Freemasons, but I'm really glad that they set up an area that I could decide what I wanted to be, instead of just having the Pope thrown down my throat.
Jesse Ventura has done a great thing to wake people up. However, I don't view myself as a fan of Ventura's work because he's in the entertainment business, and he's only been in this a few years. And there's other things that alarm me. His continuation with the World Wrestling Entertainment, his appearance there last year, where he wore the jacket, the all-seeing eye, the Illuminati symbolism, the double-headed eagle. What is it doing on your back, Ventura, or is this all just a joke? These are questions I'd really like to know, and with that, I want to think...
He'll never mention the Vatican, and some things he'll never mention. Well, hey, it's your show, Alex, and I just want to say...
Thank you very much, and much of this does come down to the Vatican. When you see the Vatican say, hey, you know what? Aliens have souls just like us, as if they're preparing us for something in the not-too-distant future. Then you have the UN. They appoint a space ambassador, to say that, we're one day perhaps be greeting alien visitors. And so we're appointing this particular position. We're going to go ahead and continue. Now, we were talking about WikiLeaks, but the reality is the disclosures are already out there, many of them, as to what our government's been up to. WikiLeaks, in many cases, stinks like a rat. It doesn't smell very well. It seems like it's, certainly not on the level, because there's a lot of truth with disinformation put in there. But the disclosures, the real ones, are out there, like this one, which just came out, I believe, in the New York Times. And this deals with Project Paperclip, the United States importing Nazi scientists, Nazi soldiers into the United States or into U.S. territory for safety. Declassified papers show U.S. recruited ex-Nazis. See, this is the other pieces of news that are coming out, and most people aren't aware of. You're not going to hear Keith Olbermann discuss this, or Amy Goodman. After World War I, American counterintelligence recruited former Gestapo officers, SS veterans, and Nazi collaborators, helping an even greater extent than had been previously disclosed, and helped many of them avoid prosecution or look the other way when they escaped, according to thousands of newly declassified documents. Bill, let's go ahead and document that for the viewers, because all of this is very important. That's down on the graphics. We have two pictures there. The second picture is the Nazi officer Klaus Barbie. He escaped to Bolivia. He and others got American help. You see there in the upper left-hand corner, this is from the New York Times. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. As time goes on, much of the stuff that we questioned, whether the truth was actually valid, it's now coming out and incrementally being revealed to us. And when you have so much information in a short span of time, a person's perception of reality can really shift. But for a lot of people, when they get this information, they just accept it. And then when you bring it up, they go, hey, it's always been that way. Where a year previously, they're like, that's insane. That's a conspiracy theory. Now we need to talk about Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck now has changed his rhetoric. One day he's talking about how he hates the 9/11 truther families, the family members of those that died on 9/11. He hates them. He hates people that question Building 7. He hates those people. One day he's saying this. Another day he's saying Ron Paul supporters, they might be terrorists, because they're well organized and they've concocted this money bomb, and it's scary that they're doing this, okay? And then another day he's saying, you know what, I support Bush's banker bailout plan. Then one day a new president comes in that expands the power of the New World Order over the United States, the soon-to-be bankrupt corporation, okay? But he keeps it in the left and right box. So we have the left fighting the right and the right fighting the left. The right, the Republicans, seen as the saviors from the insane Democrats. Whereas a couple of years earlier, the whole mentality was reversed. How they continue to shift the revolution and the energy that comes from it, which in reality is organic, this organic resistance. So they're trying to control it, and they're trying to derail it. And this is why I believe Glenn Beck is allowed to say such things that are absolutely true, that are happening, but it's coming through Fox News. And so we'll go ahead and play this clip. It's 6 minutes. And we'll come back and we'll cover some of the other headlines. We'll also take phone calls tonight.
Civil unrest.
503-288-4442 or 503-288-4448.
I'm a paranoid lunatic. I'm seditious. It's suffocating vision. I think a suffocating vision of paranoia. Really. Showing you for a year in advance, I told you unrest was coming to Europe. And then it's coming here.
Right, and you also say it's a left-wing conspiracy.
Now, in the last few months,
and the right, they're the savior, right?
And violence in the streets of Europe.
So you're speaking to Americans that have lost their jobs,
the
they're terrified.
Shut down public transportation.
And you're trying to hold their awareness, Glenn. You're trying so hard.
Students are taking to the streets again in England over possible tuition hikes. I told you that would happen
it's not working
a year
with
ago.
me.
We showed you the burning cars. We've showed you how they are mirroring the failed economic
policies
policies
it's almost as if
here
he's
in America.
Encouraging us to riot.
I'm a paranoid lunatic.
As we receive this information.
This must just
There's
be
other weird things
suffocating
that are said
paranoia.
in here.
Now, let me ask you this. Are they willing now to say the same thing about the Pentagon? Because they have been wargaming an economic crisis for almost 2 years now. One of these war games was called Unified Quest 2011. Listen to what they are preparing for at the Pentagon.
It's been going on longer than 2 years. They were doing some of these in the 90s.
In that wargaming series, they're looking at the implications of large-scale economic breakdown inside the United States.
Not to mention Rex 84.
The Army to keep, quote, domestic order among civil unrest and force the Army to deal with fragmented global power
they're revealing
and drastically lower budgets.
To people.
That's weird.
So it's no longer, it's not going to be a surprise.
That's just paranoid lunatics. They're seditious over there at the Pentagon, I guess. Now, what would be some of the things that might cause civil unrest? Well, let me show you a picture today from theblaze.com. It's of the Alaskan National Guard taking part in an exercise here for civil unrest. Oh, what does the guy have, the demonstrator have? Well, it's a sign that says, "Food now." Well, why would he need a sign like that? Oh, yeah, that's right. The suffocating vision of paranoia. Food shortage, or food being scarce, or food just being too expensive because coming inflation. Absolutely without merit, and I'm mentally ill. Really? The National Guard is going for that, along with the Pentagon. I've talked about the importance for preparing for tough times, having enough food and supplies, getting out of debt, being self-reliant. The reaction, without merit, doomsday, probably mentally ill. But when Time magazine posts an article, impending crisis, Earth to run out of food by 2050, I'm sure this is some sort of green nightmare. This is good journalism. The only people I trust in the government,
here we go,
only ones I trust, are the military.
Here, bingo!
The military is preparing. Are you? But the military, I believe, are being boxed into a corner by people who actually have their hands on the levers of power. And it is those holding the levers of power that have been creating the conditions to make these scenarios possible.
What movie comes to mind?
And that goes anywhere from Harry Reid to Obama, all the way to the kingmaker himself, George Soros. Not the guy who has a stupid show at 5 p.m. or 2 p.m. Pacific. I mean, who am I up against in the Pacific?
Apparently, well, let's clean the disc off, Bill, and we'll go to the next clip. Apparently, the DVD player was not too happy with hearing coming out of it, and so hopefully I haven't damaged any of the equipment by daring put such mind control stuff out there, all the subliminals on Fox and CNN, the graphics. So there's a lot of truth and information there, but the only one he trusts, it's the military. The military. You have a lot of people that aren't too well within the military that didn't sign up to protect their country, but to go in because it's it provides the opportunity to walk upon the killing fields. But that is not a generalization of everyone in the military. There's a lot of people that are back now. Some people are watching this show that aren't going to go along with the system. There are some people out there who support the Oath Keepers, which took a vow to defend the U.S. Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. A vow that even though they still may be called up for duty, they will not put Americans in FEMA camps. They won't man checkpoints. They won't force vaccines upon the population. So that movement is growing as well, which is why many service members coming back are being monitored by the federal government. There's another story about TSA harassment of some troops coming back, and it made the headlines, but it's important that when military men come back, they see that the stuff is happening. You know, there's a story about one guy, I mean, he's got an M16, he's carrying it on the plane, but he can't take his nail clipper on. I mean, he and his military buddies are like, this is insane. I've got a gun, and you're saying I can't bring on my nail clippers. I mean, it should be crystal clear for that man at that point what type of system he has served for so long. And, of course, the light bulb at this point, the epiphany should appear. I've got to get out of this. This is not good. I need to find out what's happening to my country. Many men in the military, they have families. I need to know how I'm going to feed my wife if I come back to this country and I don't have a job, or they're not able to issue me any checks for disability or military benefits because I joined up and I joined the killing fields. You look at a system that's that vile, that demented, that it's going to go after millions of people and push them into a grave prematurely, a mass